AEW's EVP, this is per Fightful, AEW's EVP Mike Mansuri says AEW will have, quote, sports-style presentation in arena beginning in 2025.
What?
Isn't that what they already promised us?
Yes, Phil.
From the beginning of AEW, this is already what they said it was going to be, and it's not that.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Dose, what are your thoughts on them like making this announcement beginning 2025? So it hasn't been the sports-based wrestling this entire time, and you're all idiots?
I have been told that it's been sports-based wrestling the whole time, and it's professional wrestling, not sports entertainment. So I don't know what it means. I mean, does that mean they're going to bring the rankings back for another 2.5 weeks and then forget about them? I mean, the only thing I heard that's objective is apparently they're getting new equipment in the production trucks are getting upgraded. Great. They're going to have new technology, but I mean, I don't think the problems with production has been the technology. I think it's been the people who don't know how to use it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you want to read it very strictly, I mean, it could mean that they're going to like a PC, like NXT to, or like TNA to like a studio, like their own private arena to do it. And maybe save themselves some of the touring costs, but I think their touring schedule is sort of out already, and that doesn't seem to be the case. So I have to be honest with you, Phil, I don't know what the F it means.
Yeah, is it like, oh, Tony, I'm going to bring the rankings back, and then he just gives up on it? What are they going to do? Okay, so get rid of the Excalibur. Get rid of him as a commentator. Make divisions with weight classes. Stick to your own rules. Don't mix in Ring of Honor rules and fight without honor stipulation. Keep everything like it's on AEW. It's our league. If you're from CMLL, you compete in our league. It's our rules, not yours. Okay, on special occasion, a special rules match, maybe like, oh, the CML title's defended. Save it for those crossover pay-per-views you talk about. Make it sports-based. Like, here's an event where you'll see CMLL type rules and stuff like that. It's just so stupid. From the beginning, they could have been doing this sports-based, and they did up. And I know some people say, well, it doesn't work that way, but it's not true, man. There's ways to do it. The commentary is a huge part of that. You can't call it like pro wrestling. It's got to be called more like a mix, like a hybrid. You got to be talking about statistics. That's what I thought Tony Khan would bring to the table. Statistical analytics, like the commentators would be on commentary talking about, like, you know, I've said this before, but let's say John Moxley's in a match. Oh, when he hits the Death Rider, he finishes opponents 91% of the times. However, if they counter it, he actually loses 63% of matches, and you'll be looking to counter this technique or whatever. Like, make it sports-based as much as you can. I always say WWE is much more sports-based, just based off the fact you know their rules and you know what their divisions are. You understand who's going after what title and why, for the most part. You know, we all understand every hockey team's trying to win the Stanley Cup every year. We get that. So tell me, now wrestling's fun because I get to explain a little more than that and show you, give you characters and stuff like that, instead of just people giving the same old interviews. Yeah, you know, we want to go out there, give it 110%. Oh yeah, I thought my defense was really good, but my takedown defense could do better, whatever. Now we can really get into these different types of characters and stuff like that. And if AEW is going to focus on that, good. And it seems like that's what they're trying to do. But then don't go, but in 2025, we're going fully sports-based after all the IWC marks claim that it's been sports-based. And not only that, it's like now you're switching up. Thus far, all the dirt sheets have been saying you guys are focusing on stories and sort of switching your identity. We can tell, like, you guys are trying to switch your identity a little bit. And then now you're going to just be like, we're switching our identity again to what you guys thought it was supposed to be and what we're kind of getting away from because we're going more sports entertainment-y. You get what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. It's madness, and it's just not a good look, and they don't know who they want to be. It's like a kid in high school. This company feels like a kid in high school. You're a teenager. You're going through high school. 1 year, you're hanging out with jocks. Next year, you're an emo kid. The year after, you don't know what you're finding out who you want to be. People go, and that's what AEW has, is an identity crisis, man.
You're the same kid with a different haircut. One week you're wearing a varsity jacket. The next day you're wearing like a leather, biker jacket because you don't know which one makes you look tough. And it turns out neither of them do. But I don't know. I mean, I take this first. I always question: did this guy say this with permission, or did he just sort of go rogue? Is this a confession, and is this just we're throwing in the towel for 2024? And so we're trying to ramp up some curiosity and interest for 2025, so that people tune in just to see what's different. Because unless this is what I have phrased a complete reset or the great reset to spill over or cross I don't see what damn bit of difference it could make. But Phil, I have to leave you now. It is dinner time here at the Chez Lippmann or Casa de Lippmann. I always appreciate you inviting me, and if I could give you 20 or 30 minutes, I absolutely want to, just to show my appreciation for you.
You're the man, Dose. We love you. Everyone, go and follow Dose. Round of applause for Evil Dose. You take it easy, buddy. Thanks for tapping in. Round of applause for all Jake, ladies and gentlemen. So, Kia Stevens, Awesome Kong, says AEW departure was amicable. And she said, because of certain ailments that I have, I could not travel during the pandemic, and God bless them. They paid me way longer than I thought they would or should. God bless them forever. And yeah, that's why the wrestlers defend AEW right there. And you give respect to the ones like Big Show who will just be like, yeah, they pay me the money. I'm not doing it. Or Kong is like, God bless them. They paid me so. And she wrestled everywhere all over the world already. Like, what was she going to do? Be a game changer in AEW? No. So I'm never mad at a legend getting their goddamn money from Tony Khan and riding off into the sunset. Tony Khan's Twitter is just him constantly thanking fans for watching his show, thinking these tweets actually help promote his product. They come off as so cheesy. Plus, I thought it was a great show. You booked it. Of course you think that. And it's true. It just sort of reeks of desperation. It's not, he's never really seriously promoting the way, Triple H, his is very professional and he's promoting, I don't know. He has the Triple H point pictures. Tony Khan has the Tony Khan hug pictures, which are cringe. And he didn't really want to get out there, but he's got no riz, as the kids would call it on the social media. It's just like begging for. Now we all tweet shit out. I tweet out, "Hey, come listen to my show," but it's always like, "Thank you all for watching. It's a great show." And it's like you've had shows where I think Rampage just had 124,000 people watch it, or whatever the number was, 127,000. So I don't know who you're thanking or whatever. I guess the 127,000 people, they're going to turn out anyways, bruv. You need to focus on those people who are not going to watch the show. Step your salesman game up. I don't know what to tell you. But Heel Uzi posts, wow, AEW has no shame. They will try anything not to have an empty arena. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision. And so they tweet out, tomorrow is election day. I read all of AEW's tweets in Excalibur's voice. That's how it is in my head whenever I see them tweeting. So they go, tomorrow is election day. Don't forget to vote. And while you're at it, take advantage of this special offer of up to 40% off of select seats at our upcoming 2024 AEW shows. Use the promo code VOTE to access the discount. So yeah, they're using a voting thing. I mean, that's chill. It's very YouTuber in 2014-ish, it feels like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just the thing about Tony saying everything's great, it's one thing for when you promote your shows, it's afterwards. Hey, it was a great show because we went live and we had fun and talked about things. It wasn't like you wrote script word for word what was going to happen. Of course, Tony's going to say it's great. You booked it, you jackass. He's the worst.
Yeah, dude. It's great. So is this soda water. So according to the Observer, Mercedes Monet says, AEW is the best I've ever felt in my wrestling career. And yeah, so it's the best she's ever felt, guys. She's the best around. No one's ever gonna make it.
We could do Jericho. Of course. It's funny how much $10 million a year will make you feel the best you ever have in your life. Interesting.
No doubt. Yeah. Give me $10 million a year.
Seriously. I will.
Yeah, Tony, give me 2 and I'll shut the fuck up. Just give me 2 straight up. I don't even need it per year and I'll shut the fuck up, bud. I'll cover New Japan or something. You got no. No, I'm fucking joking. Okay, so at This Is Nasty says AEW, the home of unprofessional wrestling. Hashtag WWE Raw, AEW Tony Khan. Shout out Alfred Kunawa, who's been going hard in the paint lately. dropping videos, his channel blowing the hell up. Check out Pro Wrestling Bits and don't subscribe in Swahili.
Tony Khan has no authority, no control over his locker room, and lacks the self-control to ignore mean tweets. And when the president and CEO of not one, not two, but 3 mediocre franchises can be found bickering on a Bird app, it magnifies AEW's inferiority complex. When Samantha Irvin and Ricochet lashed out on Twitter shortly after their departures, I kind of understood where they were coming from. Public figures can only take so much, and you can't blame them for standing up for themselves against vile backlash. But then I remembered that the only reason they felt so empowered to do so was because they were no longer with WWE. And in Ricochet's case, he's been given carte blanche to crash out on Twitter because he's now signed with AEW, the home of unprofessional wrestling. Tony Khan.
Good point. Summed it up nicely there. Shout out Konoha, man. Good stuff. So I was tagged in this. Meltzer is here. So here we'll play a flute kit. We're in AEW news, but we'll play a flute. But this is news. I found it to be news because it is about if you guys can read the title. Does Tony Khan regret not signing and keeping Cody Rhodes? Like that was even an option. But yeah, here's a Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the show.
Cool guy in tie-dye.
I actually tie-dyed this myself when I just remember.
Before we go, we have a couple of mailbag questions here. The ECW show on Wednesday. Has WWE ever attempted to bring Joey Styles back? What does he do now?
I don't know what he's doing, and I probably should.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you big Dave. You think you should? Oh my god, big fucking ECW show coming up. You think you should know what Joey Styles is doing?
No idea. He couldn't even come up with. He couldn't even come up with a lie.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this till now. This is fucking amazing.
Don't know if they've tried to bring him back. So I don't have a good answer for that.
This person says, do you think one of Tony Khan's biggest regrets is not picking up the option year for Cody?
I think so, yes.
Not picking up the option year. So Cody Rhodes did an interview and was like, we covered it on the show. He was on Flagrant and he was like, I might have not even went to WWE after the Vince McMahon meeting, and I could have went back to AEW and mended all of those fences and stuff easily, whatever, like I was in a good spot basically, but everything was uncertain. And now, of course, like Meltzer gets asked this question that Brian probably wrote into the show himself. They probably have some intern writing the questions in. And so Dave is responding, I guess, to that. And so there's Cody's narrative and then Tony Khan's narrative. And I just love how Dave, I don't know, he thinks he's cute. I don't think it's like a coincidence he's talking about this around right after and just be like, oh, do you think Tony regrets not picking up the year? Now, the obvious answer is yes. However, he's going to try and put a spin on it, probably in Tony's favor. I'm predicting it right now. If he was unhappy, do you think Tony wouldn't have released him in any ways? It just seems like it was more in Cody's hands, obviously, because the dude walked into WWE and had his music and had a big match, and it really seemed like the ball was in his court. But I don't know. I'm interested to hear what Dave has to say about this. 37 seconds in, already had a belly laugh at that.
That was
I had no idea about Joey Styles. That shit was hilarious. But yeah, so let's hear his explanation about what Tony Khan texted him, more or less, and his spin on that.
Nobody will say it, but logic.
Nobody will say what? Sorry, I have to pause it already. Nobody will say that Tony regrets not picking up the option. I just said it, you moron.
Everybody, if you're sitting there, you got to say that. Yeah. But I've never heard him say it. He's never addressed it ever. But if I was in his shoes, the way this whole thing played out, absolutely, you have to say it.
This person here says,
nobody will say it, but you have to say it. But I just said it.
I think the underlying sign of that is no one will say that to Tony because Tony can't hear bad news. He can't be told that he messed up and that he's doing anything wrong. I feel like that's what he meant and tried to say there, but didn't actually say it. Tony's surrounded by yes men. Yeah, no. Tony just goes into a corner and starts crying if he hears that. Hey, well, I'm like,
And Dave is like when the it monster starts shrinking at the end of the movie, and he's just like, "Wah," he's just like babbling incoherent.
yeah.
Why did the Elite and Tony Khan power struggle storyline get dropped? The Elite laying out Tony at the end of Dynamite felt like a big deal and like he was leading to something big, but then Tony just showed back up a few weeks later, regained control of the company, and the EVP's power slowly faded.
Well, they still use their power in different spots here and there, you know.
Right. That's why it's slowly faded, Dave. That's why the person who asked the question described it as slowly faded, because they use their power all over the show, like on the intro graphics and everything. And then what did they do? It slowly faded because then they just use their power here and there. So that's what he just said.
Oh, but
why didn't they've had power from day one?
As far as like
no answer, just shakes his head and goes, oh man.
The idea of like the thing like starting off strong and then kind of fading into Nowhereville. I mean, it did.
You know what infuriates me the most about that, actually? Given where we are right now, all they would have had to do was have that big blood and match when it was AEW versus the Elite be for who gets power, because the AEW team won. We would have been literally in the exact same place, but it would have been an added big stipulation, and it would have finished off that storyline. But that wasn't the storyline.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
he's actually right.
Yeah,
it's true. It would have been a storyline way to end it, a little short-term program there, I guess, a little short-term invasion program. But yeah, he's right. That's all they had to do. Yeah, it's unending. Yeah, that's all they had to do.
Is that when they did that storyline, I think everybody expected it to be like a multiple month storyline, not just like a very short storyline, and it just, it wasn't followed up on well at all. Yeah.
At least he's admitting this, dude. It's like, okay, at least he's saying it. You can't really, we'll see later in our official Dave Meltzer moment of the week. And dude, he holds that mic awfully weird, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that one. You know what I mean? Is his thumb in between his two fingers too? Like, Jesus Christ.
The got your nose. He's doing the
clamp. Yeah, you're doing the got your nose on the microphone, dude.
It's just a weirdo.
But like, it's sort of refreshing to hear him just be like, I don't know. And in the he tweeted out, like, he had no excuse. He's like, it was a terrible number for Rampage or something like that. Now, that was also Rampage and not a Dynamite. He'll never speak ill of Dynamite because Rampage is going away. And Dave's going to be like, well, I said it was terrible. Oh, well, it was obvious it was. But obviously, he goes to bat for AEW to death. But no one cares about Rampage anymore. Like, it's just there until it's not soon.
Right.
And so he doesn't care because Tony doesn't care. That's why. He knows he understands the assignment, as the kids say.
And I think that a lot of, I don't say people lost trust or anything like that, but people want to pick on
people lost trust.
Something being, not well booked. I mean, that's one that's a hard one because it's like, you start out and.
No, it's not a hard one. None of it is well booked. None of it's well booked.
You would think that, you think this is going to be like the big one. And now, now they're doing the big, Moxley's the big one. And hopefully that's
being booked like too.
That one isn't. Yeah. And
there's just a new big one all the time. Yeah. Oh, this is the big one. This is the big one. Then none of them are the big one, Dave. If everything's the big one, nothing's the big one. You get it? Crazy,
Clearly they don't, because everybody's got a title. Oh my God. Everybody's in a faction.
Yeah, everyone's got a belt. Everyone gets the 20-minute match. Everybody's great. Everyone's great. Everyone gets a hug.
I think it will be. But yeah, it's weird too, because when the Young Bucks left and everything, it was almost like they're going to come back as baby faces.
No, it didn't really feel that way at all.
And it just feels like that's weird.
This person says, why did the Motor City Machine Guns end up in WWE? There had been a lot of rumors of them going to AEW.
WWE is the one that made the better offer. They went to the better offer. Whether it's more money or whether it's more, better storyline.
Why do people flee their countries and immigrate to America and Canada and shit like that, bro? What do you mean? Why didn't they go to AEW? Dude, the house is on fire, dude. What are you talking about?
You're in a war
Fine that they were suggesting.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Like that's the biggest crock over there ever right now.
WWE offered them a
legacy. Yeah.
I don't know. I know that they were interested in both sides. Talked to both sides. I never, I don't know. I didn't get the impression that AEW, like, if when Tony has people he really wants, he often gets them because he makes an offer. Like Danny Garcia, just an example.
See, that's someone Tony really wants. Is Garcia. There was never, dude. I'm telling you right now. No one in WWE was thinking of signing him for more than like
fully developmental,
just a standard developmental deal. They offered him an opportunity, and there's Tony he was just playing Tony. Like people know to play Tony. It's what it is, man. He'll give you more money if you say, "Oh, well, they were a WWE called." It's all you got. It doesn't even have to be true. You can just make it up and say it, and it'll work, bro. Because so. Daniel Garcia, like that's what I mean. Like they're really gonna go with him and Cassidy and Allen. And I mean, hey, if that's your cup of tea, great. But if that's really the next like 5-10 years is what you guys are looking at, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah,
that shit it's done. Yeah, you're completely done. You're completely done. Like, yeah, it's cooked. And we're just talking as far as like, good, you got a TV deal. WBD owns some of the company, and man, we know that. Oh, they're gonna keep this thing they own alive on their TV network. Okay, that's not. No one will care, and it will just fall off. And Dynamite will start doing 400,000 in 2 years if that's really what they're gonna push for the next 2 years. And you can sit there and go like, oh, but like MJF's in the mix and stuff. Sure, but he's also. Guys, what does he prioritize? He's doing these movies, and man, he's building a whole thing there. His deal's going to come up with AEW.
Yeah, he's
building. He's just going to go to WWE. Yeah, it's not going to make a difference. He's already going to be set millions of dollars. He'll go there for the legacy. He'll go there just to show he can do it, And if Kenny comes back, well. We're going to talk about it later in the show, too, because even Meltzer's on this, too. Meltzer's like going heel. I don't know what it is. He admitted he couldn't even put a spin on Rampage, and he talks about Kenny later in the show. We'll talk about it, where he says that it's dumb because Kenny's big return is in New Japan. It's not even in AEW. It's like for a New Japan show, bro. And it's like these guys know to just play Tony a fiddle, dude, because it is what it is. And the guys who stick by him, I mean, yeah, if you're a young guy, dude, I would go there and get a couple cool mil off him. And then you go and take less money to make your legacy in WWE. I do the same thing. I'm not even lying. Yeah, just don't be an asshole while you're there. Don't up on Twitter. Don't kiss too much balls. Don't talk about WWE. Don't get your hands dirty. Just know he'll accept if you say no. He'll sign you for 2 years, pay you $500,000 a year to keep you away from WWE, and you can say no to and just work out, get in the best shape of your life, build some on the side, go to WWE, get your legacy. If you're in your 20s, that's my advice. I've never been in the wrestling business. Maybe that's bad advice, but I don't know. That's what the
seems logical to me.
Yeah, and you got to sharpen your craft. So just try and get on as many indies as you can while you're there. Just like be that person who's like, yeah, I'll work your ROH shows and your indies and whatever, and just don't get any on you. Be under a mask if you can. I don't know, but
he makes an offer big enough to where he gets him. That doesn't always work. He didn't get Andrade, didn't get Jade again.
And why that's so telling when people are willing to be like, yeah, I've been there and the money isn't worth it. That's telling, dude,
but I mean, Saban and Shelley, my impression of Saban and Shelley was that they were looking to get a good job, good, well-paying job in the wrestling business and, just go somewhere and get good exposure. I don't think that there was necessarily like, we're going to WWE and nothing else. I don't think so. Because I had heard about talks with both sides. And then, most of the time I heard, my impression is that it was more likely WWE. And it ended up being WWE.
Thank you for watching. Make sure
Fair enough. Fair enough. That was Dave Meltzer. So Ricochet talks about if there was a deciding factor in his decision to leave WWE and join AEW. And he said, I got to thinking, okay, what will I be doing? Where will I be in 3 years? And after that, where will I be? And again, anything can happen. So he just wants to be, he's down to just have 18-minute matches as a mid-carder and become a millionaire. That's basically all he's saying. Because where you'll be in 3 years and WWE is like, who knows, maybe another US title reign, maybe they build you up for the IC title, maybe they build you up to take on LA Knight, maybe Strowman comes back and you guys do that tag team again, maybe you're down in NXT helping people and getting people over again, maybe you win the NXT title again, who knows. But all I'm saying is that there was a lot of things in WWE, but he chose, and I'm not mad at him for wanting to do AEW over WWE, but he's like, if you're thinking about what's in store for me in 3 years in AEW, maybe winning the Ring of Honor title one time, something like that. It's not much. He'll maybe become a TNT champ once or twice. I don't think they do anything really with Ricochet.
No,
maybe an international.
Same as it is right now, a few years from now.
Yeah, like I don't think he'll even get the international title. I think Takeshita will beat him, and it's like a guy to put Takeshita over. But anyways, he goes, I got to thinking, blah, blah, blah. He says, I felt like I was starting over with the Braun Breakers and the Ilias and Carmelos and the new guys just coming in. I feel like Ricochet was those guys coming back in. It's like, man, I've already been here for 5 or 6 years. I want to be doing something else. Again, at the end of the day, I wasn't going to go to the highest bidder. I was just going to go to whoever was going to make me feel good and ignite that spark again. Well, Tony was the highest bidder, because I felt like that fire that was burning inside of me was still there, but it was just like little embers that needed that gasoline on it to really make it ignite. So he felt like he was starting over with the Brauns and the Ilias and the Carmelos, but he's been wrestling who's he wrestled? He's wrestled the Kyle Fletchers and who else has he wrestled? Takeshita's and the other up and coming guys. Like, what
did he wrestle AR
about?
Fox on Collision too?
Bro, he's wrestling the other up and coming guys. I know AR Fox is a vet, but it's like he's an indie vet, like no one on TV.
He's a mid-carder
really
at best.
Yeah, so it's like you're doing the same thing, bro. So it was just, it's all good. It just sounds copey. It's just, if I was them, I'd be like, dude, I earned this. I put my body on the line night in and night out. I took this big bag. I'm going to try and beat up their world champion if I can. And dude, I make the best of whatever opportunities given to me, and the door ain't closed on WWE, bro. I'll go take that over one day too. Look at Cody Rhodes. Look what he did. Maybe I'm just making my own. Like, I just talk something like that. You don't gotta. Anyways, he goes, at the time I felt like AEW could be the gasoline. He goes with Leo and AR Fox and Nick Wayne, someone I've never been in there with, Sammy Guevara. So those are the up and coming guys, Mortis and people I've never worked with. People like AR Fox and Leo, who I've worked with before years ago. Now we're different performers. So I really think that had a lot to do with it. But there was no specific moment where something happened and I just flipped the switch and that's where I'm going. I just think it's what felt right. Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. But yeah, it's just like, just say you took the money, bro.
Right? It's fine. We don't mind. Yeah. We get it.
So AEW has filed for the trademark Parade of Champions and AEW Parade of Champions. It's just such a bad idea. It's so bad. The Parade of Champions. It just seems like cheesy and weird, but who knows what it is. It going to be a literal parade and educational and entertainment services, namely a continuing program about wrestling, accessible by radio, television, satellite. So it's some sort of entertainment program. Is it like a new pay-per-view, a new television special instead of Night of Champions
or the Battle of the Belts?
Clash of Champions. It's the Parade of Champions. Battle of the Belts gone. It's the Parade of Champions. I don't know, man. It's such a bad name. Someone pointed out some old territory did that a long time ago, which is probably why Tony's bringing it back.
For sure.
There was a lot of things that were cool in the 70s or whatever that are dumb now. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't care. It just sounds cheesy.
It sounds super cheese.
How does TNA come up with cool names like the pay-per-view Emergence? Like, they come up with these cool names like that remind me of sort of Attitude Era-y Rebellion. And, TNA comes up with good names, and AEWs are like Full Gear. It's like, all right. What is the other?
Revolution.
Fighter Fest? Where that's like a meme of Fighter Fest is like a parody of Fire Fest or whatever. Yeah, they have all these things. Revolution. I like All In and All Out. Those are good, but
then they also have Double or Nothing. Like, how many freaking poker references can you have? Was Beach Break? That one was funny. Beach Break from Cleveland, Ohio, because that's what I think of beaches. I think of Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, and wasn't it like in the wintertime too?
Yes, it was. It was a frozen lake.
AEW Mole posted, Mole. Fozzy going to play a gig on ROH AEW soon. They'll play 3 songs throughout the show. Someone pitched the same song 3 times in a row. But unsure they're willing. And the payoff is on the 3rd one. Samoa Joe drives a bulldozer behind the band, a Sweet Tooth, surprising Jericho. Okay. Now, if that's true, that's so specific, right?
Yeah.
The mole's real, you know? I feel like we've done the best job of covering the mole. The best, the brightest. The future looks great. For the mole, for America. For All Elite Wrestling. I love Joe. I want more Joe on whatever wrestling program. Yeah. To quote Pat McAfee, more Joe everywhere. Yeah, he makes it happen. So AEW is desperate right now for superstars, and Tony Khan has Kenny Omega, who's still under contract. Well, just listen to this. Here's Brian Alvarez talking about what I thought Dave was talking about. I'm botching all over the place today. Botchcast. But yeah, here is Brian Alvarez talking about Tony Khan's terrible booking and terrible, like, what a fumble. He lets Kenny just go and do this. It's crazy. Get Kenny's ass to WWE. Kenny's allowed to do New Japan shows before he makes his big return to AEW. He has no sensibility on how to properly do this. You know, he won't let some talent do random indies, but he's letting Kenny return after his death injury where we thought he could have died and his stomach could have exploded. Okay. And he's coming back to New Japan and not AEW first. It's so stupid.
Why in God's name is Kenny Omega's big return on a New Japan show? Not only was Kenny Omega's big return on a New Japan show, okay? He shot an angle on the New Japan show. He set up a match on a New Japan show. And he literally did a promo that he said, while I am under contract to AEW, New Japan has the best wrestling in the world, and I consider it my home. Like, what are we doing?
Jesus Christ, man.
That's worse than when Hogan called the title, when he called the WWE title a toy or whatever when he was over in Japan. Jesus.
That's literally what that is, the equivalent of, except for scaled down for inflation or whatever.
Right? Or scaled up or whatever, 400 days. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but that's what I got when I heard that. And I hadn't heard that yet.
Not quite Hogan and WWF, but like kind of.
but I mean, yeah, to Tony it would be. I mean, how does that not kill Tony's heart? Like, that doesn't. Wow.
I hope he goes to WWE.
He needs to.
What are we doing?
Out of there.
Taking it way
Tony's fine with that?
That's what
Why in God's name is Kenny Omega's big?
Yeah, that is bonkers. You guys want to talk about Jake Hager. So Jake Hager completely crashed out. Now there's more than this. Oh yeah, I had a little thread. So here we go. It's in AEW news, I guess. So Jake Hager like melts down probably because it's election night and he's having a few drinks. You know what I mean? And because he starts talking about communism, and so who knows if it's political or not, and all of that aside, who cares? But he was feeling himself, and so he tweeted out at Real Jake Hager says, everyone who wants to talk shit about Trump, the Biden administration, so it was political, there you go, the Biden administration removed American energy on day one, so who is the tyrant? So he really cares about American energy, I guess. Tony Khan, Bryan Danielson get tagged. So this guy snitch tags Khan. And like, here's the thing. Hager hasn't been working for AEW, but this guy, Alberto, snitch tags Khan and the disciplinary committee guy, Danielson. Right. And he goes, check your dumbass drunk boy. And then Jake Hager goes, Tony Khan is someone who treated my job if I didn't stop promoting my Trump. Who threatened my job if I didn't stop promoting my Trump. my Trump. This guy's wasted. And he goes, he is a communist. Calls him a commie.
You
dude.
what?
Oh man, yeah, he was really having a time, dude. You know, he was loving that. And luckily I screen grabbed these because he deleted it today, and there's more. And I think I saw bodyslam.net go off on him really hard. Everybody likes to roast Tony Khan and the Khan family for donating to Trump $1 million or whatever. They probably did again this year, but that's Shad Khan, I guess, because according to Jake, Tony Khan is very much a left-leaning guy, I guess, or whatever Jake's calling people communists. I don't know. You're a billionaire. I don't know if that makes much sense, but what do I know? Here we go. So real Jake Hager says, do you want proof that Tony Khan is a communist and threatened me to be silent or else? Listen, I don't think Tony Khan threatened anybody, because he can't do that. And what I mean is, like, he literally cannot do that. There's no, strong bone in his body. But the thing is like, Tony Khan, I think, could send out a tweet to everyone, or a DM to everyone, or an email saying, hey, don't talk politics. And then if Hager's like, well, you let CM Punk go and do a Tran thing. Yeah, but it's CM Punk. So it's like, when it's your top guy, I'm not saying they should be allowed to burn the place down and run rampant and do whatever they want. But I mean, if The Rock's on TV and he's going to go 4 minutes over his promo and go out and interact with the crowd when Vince is like, don't interact with that guy dressed like Hulk Hogan in the front row, and The Rock's like, no, I'm going to do that. It's like, he's kind of allowed to do that, So, Jake Hager, you're not CM Punk. So I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know if that was a conversation, but to go full blown like he's a communist, who knows? I don't know. I don't know, Chad. What do you think? So that was Jake Hager's meltdown. Tony Khan did not respond. Good for once. He didn't respond to some cringe. I'm glad he left this one alone. And I just tweeted out, yikers. Yeah, that was AEW news. QT Marshall felt rubbed the wrong way by his meeting with WWE earlier this year. And let's read what he has to say. So QT Marshall says, he recalls speaking to WWE prior to his AEW return earlier this year. He said, I had one conversation with somebody that doesn't even work there anymore. I just got rubbed the wrong way during the conversation. Yeah, that's why they don't work there anymore, bud. It was like, hey, yeah, oh, yeah, that's great. All right. And I told him, like, yeah, all right, we'll stay in touch. To me, it was like, I'm not staying in touch. Yeah, they didn't want you, buddy. They just took the call to keep Cody happy. So then he said, I had all that time between November and January. So that on January 1, when that conversation did arise on January 2, whenever it was like I kind of knew. Plus, I had already spoken to Tony before that. So I kind of knew. I think I was just looking for a reason to say no. Yeah, you were trying to get a WWE job, buddy. Moving along here. Bruce Pritchard and Michael Hayes are currently on temporary leave from WWE, according to multiple sources. Both are expected back, although the time frame was said to be indefinite. Pritchard's absence is officially said to be due to a family emergency, and Hayes' absence is due to personal issues. Now, I know this is from Dave Meltzer. However, other people have also agreed with this or confirmed it or whatever. Meiko Satomura, the original Final Boss, has confirmed that her retirement match will take place on April 29, 2025, almost exactly 30 years to the day from her in-ring debut. And that will take place, I believe, in WWE. So hopefully they give her a big stage, or wherever they let her go, it will be awesome. And hopefully she passes the torch, maybe over to Julia or something would be cool. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Jacob Fatu. We covered this on I covered this on a show I did with Crossman Wrestling, and this is an update from that. So the Jake's Network Hope of Charity, he apparently ripped them off some money. He resolved the issue is the update, just to update everyone. But if you want my more in-depth coverage of that, check out the pod I did with Crossman. So everyone, round of applause for WWE News. That was our WWE News, ladies and gentlemen.